Sometimes a single sentence has the power to shift a person's entire emotional world, not because of the words themselves, but because of what those words unlock within them. Most people never realize just how deeply language shapes connection, how one thoughtful moment, one genuine expression, one sincere observation can leave an imprint that lingers long after the conversation ends. And that's the focus of today's journey. Not tricks, not rehearsed lines, not surface-level flattery, but the psychology of emotional recognition, the kind that reaches beneath appearance and touches something real. Because the truth is simple. Human beings remember how you make them feel far more than anything else. You might forget the clothes someone wore, the details of the day, even the context of the moment, but you never forget how someone's presence shifted your internal landscape. Sometimes only slightly, sometimes profoundly. This is why meaningful words matter, especially words offered with intention. Psychology has shown again and again that authentic acknowledgement strengthens emotional bonds more than any grand gesture ever could. When someone feels seen, truly seen, something inside them relaxes, opens, and begins to trust. It's one of the most powerful forms of connection available to us as human beings. And yet, most people don't use this power at all. They rely on hollow compliments, repetitive lines, comments that sound identical to every voice echoing across social media, expressions that feel generic instead of personal, distant instead of meaningful. But when you learn how to communicate with presence, when your words arise from attention rather than habit, everything changes. So today, we're exploring something deeper. How intentional language creates emotional resonance. How you can acknowledge someone in a way that honors their character, their energy, their individuality, not in a manipulative way, not in a performative way, but through simple awareness. Let's begin. Imagine noticing someone not for what they're wearing, not for how they look today, but for the atmosphere they bring with them. That subtle shift in the air when they walk into a space, that quiet lightness or calm they add without even trying. When you say something like, "There's something about your presence that changes the energy around you," in a peaceful, grounding way, you're not commenting on appearance. You're recognizing impact. And impact is what people remember. Think about it for a moment. Everyone has walked into rooms that felt heavy or tense, and everyone has also met someone whose presence made everything feel lighter, softer, more human. When you acknowledge that kind of effect, you're honoring a quality that's rare, a quality rooted not in physical traits, but in emotional intelligence. And psychology tells us something important about acknowledgement like this. People feel valued when their internal qualities are recognized, not their appearance, not their achievements, but their deeper traits, the ones usually hidden from view. That is where emotional connection grows. Now imagine another version of this. Someone shares an idea that shifts your perspective, just slightly, but meaningfully. Maybe they challenge the way you usually think. Maybe they express something you never considered. Maybe they look at the world through lenses that feel fresh, creative, or profoundly thoughtful. When you say, "The way you see things is so refreshing. It makes me reflect in ways I never do on my own." You're opening a door to deeper dialogue, a door to trust, a door to connection grounded not in attraction, but in curiosity. Human beings feel closest to the people who make them think, who expand their understanding, who make them sit with new ideas long after the conversation ends. This kind of acknowledgement creates not just emotional connection, but intellectual connection, the kind that becomes memorable. And here's something psychology emphasizes constantly. When someone feels that their mind is valued, not just their outward appearance, they feel safe opening up more of themselves. Safety creates depth. Depth creates trust. Trust creates connection. Now let's go even deeper. There's something profoundly powerful about someone who lives authentically, someone who shows up as themselves without trying to impress, without trying to adjust their personality to fit expectations, without performing a version of themselves for approval. Authenticity is rare, it's brave, it's sometimes messy, sometimes imperfect, but always real. When you say, "Ooh, I appreciate how genuine you are," it's refreshing to be around someone who doesn't hide behind versions of themselves. You're giving recognition to a quality that most people desperately crave acknowledgement for. Because being yourself in a world full of pressure is not easy. It takes courage to live without a mask. Psychology calls this self-congruence, the alignment between who a person is internally and how they express themselves externally. Complementing this alignment touches something deep because authenticity is rarely affirmed. And that brings us to something else: emotional presence. Some people carry an energy that feels warm, steady, and supportive. Not loud, not dramatic, not attention-seeking, but grounding. These are the people who listen fully, who respond thoughtfully, who make you feel like you matter simply by being there. When you say, "You have a way of making people feel understood and valued," it's something truly special. You're acknowledging a type of emotional intelligence that many people never receive appreciation for. Psychology shows that emotionally attuned individuals are often the ones who give the most, yet receive the least validation. Recognizing this quality creates a deep emotional imprint. Because when someone feels appreciated for the way they care, their connection with you becomes different, quieter, deeper, more trusting. Now let's talk about something equally powerful: ambition, purpose, inner fire. Some people move through life with clarity. They know what they want. They work with intention. They push through challenges quietly, consistently, without seeking applause. When you say, "Your dedication is inspiring. The way you pursue what matters to you motivates me too," you're recognizing their discipline, not in a shallow way, not by hyping them up, but by acknowledging the internal drive that shapes their path. Ambition, in psychology, is tied to identity. When someone feels their purpose is seen, not judged, not dismissed, not minimized, it creates profound emotional resonance, because purpose is personal, it's vulnerable, it's often misunderstood, and when someone sees it clearly, they feel supported in a way that lasts. Now let's explore something even more subtle: thoughtfulness. In today's fast, loud, distracted world, thoughtfulness stands out like a quiet light in the distance. It's not performative, it's not done for attention, it's the little things: remembering details, noticing emotions, offering kindness without being asked. When you say, "I notice how considerate you are," it really shows the kind of person you are. You're speaking to character, not behavior. Thoughtful people rarely receive acknowledgement for the effort behind their actions. They don't seek praise, they don't ask for recognition, they simply care, consistently, quietly, sincerely. Psychology tells us that when someone feels appreciated for their inner kindness, it strengthens their emotional well-being and deepens their bond with the person who noticed. And the truth is, being noticed for who you are is one of the most powerful feelings in the world. Finally, we come to something timeless: genuine connection. The moments when someone feels not just seen, but understood, not just admired, but appreciated, not just acknowledged, but respected. When you say, "There's something about you that feels easy to trust, easy to talk to, easy to be myself around," you're offering a reflection of emotional safety, one of the strongest foundations for any meaningful connection. And that's what all of this comes down to. Not lines, not techniques, not strategies, just awareness, presence, authenticity, humanity. When your words come from a place of intention, not performance, when they arise from noticing rather than guessing, when they carry sincerity instead of rehearsed charm, they resonate. People don't remember generic compliments. They don't hold on to phrases they've heard 1,000 times, but they remember the person who paid attention, the person who saw what others overlooked, the person who spoke from the heart instead of habit. Because ultimately, we all want to feel seen. We all want to feel understood. We all want to feel valued, not for what we show the world, but for who we truly are. So as you move forward, speak with intention, observe with presence, connect with honesty, because meaningful words are not just sound, they're emotional experiences. They shape memory, they create warmth, they build trust, they open doors, and sometimes the right words, spoken at the right moment, can change everything. Let your words be deliberate. Let your presence be steady. Let your connection be real. Because that, more than anything else, is what stays long after the moment has passed.